Hello, ghost. A familiar smell hit. You lit a cigarette. Lungs ache. Exhale, and the smell becomes a memory of a cousin who stole beedies, one by one, then two by two, then pack by pack from an uncle's cabinet. You both smoke in the summers on the roof where yellow-green lizards and roti thief monkeys live. Watch other children fly kites from other rooftops every morning before you brush your teeth. You wake up around midnight and it's raining. You soaked red lentils in a pot since before morning. Put the pot on a burner set to high heat. In another pot, pour oil, then it goes on the burner set to medium heat. Each will need 45 minutes. Pour wine and pull a yellow onion from a basket. Papery flakes fall on the floor. You leave them there. Chop and drink and let tears clean your face. Drop in cumin seeds. They sizzle and dance. Onions, more cumin, lemon, tomato, red powder, yellow powder, salt, and honey get spooned into the hiss. Combine what is in the two pots into one bowl and put it aside. Go on the porch, smoke in the rain before you go back to sleep. You have a dream, you have a job. It is to find one of Emily Dickinson's books, the library at your old school. You have to run to get to it on time. You have to run now. Find it on a windowsill under the stone-carved sheriff who peers down-nosed in his own book. Pick up the book you found. See, it is a John Steinbeck novel instead. Dickinson is in the binding of what you hold in your hand. Crack the binding's brown leather and wood. The pages are flimsy. They crinkle, are almost translucent. You touch them. They turn into white wings and fly out of the building. You have to run again. You are chasing the wings. Catch them near the rose bushes. Pinch down on the wings with your fingertips. They ignite. Smoke flies. The wings become orchid petals. Hello, ghost. City walls have, of course, given birth to the clinic where the limits of recourse furnish ephemeral fashions like desire. A place for old reality, a place as ancient as globalization is given back. Traded spice for the nubile, jewels for the sunset. Travelers cannot hide the money where they are coming from, so they say prayers for each breakfast eater tonight. They will hang dresses over balconies, cotton promises to keep cool, all in the colors dyed to know how to soothe any ideas thrown as sighs and saying anyway. As for the wayward dwellers, they'll spill salt when you start sweating curry spice from oil pores. Take the seashells to the painter. Take your name down in tiny Arabic letters. You have taught them well. There is no solitude. Everyone is the noise on the streets succeeding the passive, pensive beings who lurk smiling, toothless in corners. We'd give this language a heart if we could only minimize the egg, eliminate the skin, distance the thought of grammar from dust. Hello, ghost. If daydreams could complete sentences, the portrait in the attic would have a story to tell. You would hear versions with both coordinates, subordinates. She is your grandmother. She was a good woman, she. They would say, they would gaze somewhere on the marble floor or into the muggy enough to put you back to sleep air. The woman in the photograph bone thin with no smile, looking straight into the camera, her long, long fingers gloved over a tapestried table, might have a song to play you. The photo is black and white. Her skin is what color? Her rings wink back at the camera's flash. The flowers on the table appear to be much more east than west. The petals are sharp cutting wings, not a thick circled round in bloom. A harpsichord is on the floor, just near her feet. Her portrait sits dusty in the topmost room of this mountain granite and concrete gray 4-story house. When you were a little boy, you would go to the top story every afternoon while the others slept together on the floor. In the front room, the one room with an air conditioning machine. Everyone sleeps. It helps them forget the heat. You can't eat when you sleep. You always wake up hungry. Your pale red cricket ball and the humming of old movie tunes keep you company. They say you came from a long line of daydreaming musicians who never studied music, only listened with ears so open to the entire earth, melodies could crawl in, break their hearts, and on their way out, rapture bodies with ecstasy enough to make an idea they could return to whenever they found necessary. You used to believe the stars were cousins to dog howls, that the wind in the leaves is what gives birth to car horns sounding on the horizon. Hi. This room is so calm, but I'm like, we just drove from Milwaukee and I saw a deer on the road, so like I'm still kind of just shaking a little just from seeing the deer. You know, they always come in two, right? So we saw the one cross, and CM saw the other one, but I couldn't see it. So I was just sort of, I'm still like looking for that deer a little bit. Everything's fine. That deer. So I'm gonna read a few pages from And Never Mind the Storm, the chapbook. When these pages are thinking about the ways in which the ecological disaster and love have these kinds of intersections and parallels. So it's kind of a weird thought, but that's what I was thinking. And this first poem that I'll read is a found poem that takes all of the lines from Lorene Nideker's collected works.
Who's Lorene Nideker?
She's a poet that was writing circa the 1950s and 60s, I think, from Wisconsin. Yeah. She's really cool. In the picture, soldiers wet inside. They must swim from lower to upper terrace. Fog thick morning, for sun and moon and radio, trees over the roof. If only one could, without song of gun, with noise and flame, learn change, armed against life's raw push. What thought burns here? People, the Garden of Eden, its oil, if freed, could warm the world for 20 years, and never mind the storm. I hear how wind yowls and stops on our Sunday car rides through the country. All our windows are down, our stomachs full, and there are fields of cows for milking. They chew and chew on corn, switchgrass, pitchforked bales of hay, and I can't remember any names of the people exactly in love medicine, but my brother, like someone from that fiction, ran away from home again this morning. Now we are driving on the dirt road looking for him. Dad opens the sunroof, lets me stand up through it just before the rain starts. Wind on my face and up through my nostrils like I'm about to sneeze. Then an approaching storm with lightning strike followed by thunder each time. In her novel, Erdrich compares horizon lengths to uncertainty, and that description makes for me the sky over these prairies and all their reachings less frightening. Planted fallow for the summer, then winter, an occasional oak tree. I look for foot-printed scoria, hooves, recently a horse, shoes, and a pickup truck too. The cows project their tongues in a lick-up turn, to become rhythm like their breathing, with so much salt in the air. In their silence and stare, the cows seem majestic. Mom repeats my brother's name between slow gasps of breath with her head, neck, the end of her rib cage hanging out the rolled-down passenger side window. Dad educates me on the bovine stomach. He compares each step of their digestion to the coming natural disasters. Breakdown takes place like continuous destruction does, but also it is so much of a necessity. This always consumption and rumination towards absorbing what's left of the water. He never said that. He does for the poem. Show me blueprints, slate fruition. I will gather stones from the edge's end. Tide in each movement, our sweeping bodies build shelters with wet sand building. Pages warp from water spill, dry, and we read what is left, but insert new arcs in place of erasure. If it were not so, I would still gather stones, where wreckage redraws borders to a maze, foreign as in not home. My body will always take your will, and we give days. Comfort comes and goes like moonshine on the water, counted on, counted in, even after the disaster. The world is a finishing process, so we assemble masochism and sublimate elegies. In green, we witness our deaths as impossible ending words and war. Disaster and durable vigor, bodies walk to the shoulder of once busy roads, to blisters, to hands, to clutch, ribbon, and alabaster. Shiver to be living creatures. In rags, if flesh pots line the bottom, dynasty takes on long shadows without taking account how the water is playing a marvelous play. But we are different, not rightful blood from where thousands wire language in its infancy to a stranger. Neither a familiar nuclear family nor the wondrous garnishings struggles over arched passages or startles the majesty of wire along the coast's accretion of sand in spots. Accounting for the isolationist aspect of wire bunched in mounds where homegrown voices resound in half-digested ears waiting for the hollow to begin and again gamble sickness. For all we have is done for, future or minds, where we see industrial areas slowly breaking down into redemption, we sojourn to metaphors above and below. Now the greenery of a shopping area slowly go back to delirium, to disappear, edge, or ignite. That acquired sound cannot stop movement. We speak of your plans while I move icons across the screen. Electricity's trucked in from shoreline. All my thoughts continue, let the passing of time linger. What insects answer back to the frequencies of their companions to say please? As the sun shines, it keeps me west. While someone is dying, we hear songs the workers sing as we clean up the mess. We'll need to ask for the whole report, account for leaks and proximity and consumption, coughing blood. Now I put you near the mud, spinning speeds of sound, scared to know what is sacred in this green sky at dusk, then funnel, you know what to do, to get to the basement as soon as possible. I do not want a window shattered to do something like I do, but I do what I do. not a transference of heat and my flight out of this story, but I think it is useful to displace small things in order to destroy the large. Then I won't repeat that lovely and dangerous green sky, that grassland and beef, that prairie and wind so simple like a cure, and again for extended dwellings where sand can remain. We fracture. I will find the fact that ribbons can be affected. Thread not tolerated. I made in your ribbon a shiny thread, you said, like hairlines, and I found them on the ground. And I will not lie. Yes, I will weave, and I will not lie. I tie the ribbon around your head, and your hair keeps growing. Indulgence in every curl, my only option. We are careful to transfer signals from one tongue and understand that the signals are equal to silk or sky. I speak in the name of somnambulism, and it was for the spices and a for new frontier that decided, if not this language, then nothing. Thank you.